Welcome back to Out of the Blank, and I'm Brand the Skeptic, host of the Skeptophobia podcast, and let's shoot it to Robbie, the host of Out of the Blank.
I like it because it's all official. But it's great, man. We got to catch up. It's going to be an interesting conversation because it's the one we don't have questions. But like you said before, we seem to hit every single topic. I want to put the ball in your court, though. What has typically have been on your mind, or what you see is a little bit strange going on in the world that we're living in this day and age, this beautiful, glorious time of freedom and people loving each other, and there's nobody in the world that's struggling. And we're not in that dimension, are we? We're in a different one.
I'm just thinking about, man, that Thanos snap, man. I just can't stop thinking about that, how it's all an agenda to get us all. That's where I'm at. So yeah, I
My
was like,
conspiracy is like, let's hit Disney with some questions. Why did Endgame get released? And then the world went into this global idea that it was all going to end, like so much so that you needed to be inside your house for so long. And then now, like the Black Widow movie, how Scarlett Johansson has been going against Disney because they streamed her movie and she was only getting paid off box office. And then The Rock had the balls to come out and say something to her like, "Don't you're disrespectful to a corporation." It's like, you guys have never been in one fucking movie together. So you're telling me now that Disney's going to pay actors more money to, or the Jan 6th? You want to hit that one with the cops?
See, if I were to write notes, we'd hit them all. I'm like, man, just Jan 6 is a cool code. I like talking in code. But yeah, it's just, and I forgot, I wanted to look up the name of the guy that is like, hey, I didn't kill myself. Um,
You mean a McAfee?
yeah, exactly. But yeah, just constant suicided people. It's ridiculous. When I started this journey, I was like, man, hey, everybody, if I disappear, this is why. Need that kill switch.
We might let's put a disclaimer right out front. This is he's a conspiratorial podcaster, and conspiracy, I just call it conspiring theories, which seem to be coming true in such a way where like everyone's putting up memes and gifs about conspiracy theories being right. It's like, oh shit, I didn't think we're living in this much of a movie scenario. Now we have 5 different strains going out there. It seems like it's like North Korea where they introduced the sister, and you're like, where the fuck did she come from?
Well, Alex Jones, always right, and it just takes time for it to come out. He said that the lockdowns are just gonna squeeze and release and squeeze and release and squeeze and release. I think there's gonna be I thought of this today driving home because we were gonna do this. I was like, man, there's gonna be annual lockdowns. It's gonna be from October to March every year. And
It's
they're
like the
gonna
opposite of the purge, an annual purge, except now we have to be inside of our homes for a certain amount of time.
Amazon, all the food places that'll send ready meals to the house. You just gotta warm them up. It's all keep you inside, mask up, keep the muzzle on, don't talk to each other. Um,
Well, it's like
just
10 years ago. What would you have thought that the world would be like now, where we have a literal hashtag trending on Twitter called Death to Santis? And I don't even know the fucking guy, but I'm like, the fact that that's a trending hashtag amongst like what it says 3,000 people trending, that's just the start of it. Let's see where it goes from there. But I look at that like death to a person. Really, we've gotten to that point where we're talking about death to just somebody. I know you hate the guy, but really, we're going to say that?
mob rule. We're gonna come outside your house and you better do what we say.
The literal pitchforks and torches.
Yeah, but now they got cardboard signs with wood and there's some nails in there.
You might get a
And maybe
spoon.
there's somebody with scrap in the crowd. You never know.
I just look at it like it's very, very interesting to see what the next 5 years is going to be. The next 2 years is going to be. I picture about like 2025. We're like in the like, did you listen to the Naomi Park episode on Joe Rogan?
I did not.
She was talking about that she's a North Korean defector, and she was talking about how horrible it's in North Korea, where like they teach you, like they have posters of Americans in North Korea to teach us about them, and they talk about freedom. Like freedom is Mad Max, where you go out in the street and you can get just a random person just rapes you, and maybe in some states that might be a issue that's going on, but they make it seem like every American, like the idea of freedom is like throwing a Molotov into your house and burning your whole family down, where it scares you, and there's no language or there's no letter in their language that happens to do with the word I, because if you're seen as an individual, there's no words for it because they want you to think like a community. They want you to be on the same frequency. Nobody can have an individualistic thought.
They must, but they can't tell anybody. Like they must contemplate, what are we? Why are we here? And then they can't because there's like a dude with the pins in his neck keeping him upright to pull him away into the night.
Why do you think there's such a giant, like, this is where I talk about my issues with censorship. There's a very, very, very big pushback against the fact of like having your own thoughts. Once you start thinking differently, you start going against the system. It's like, you can't disguise yourselves as an individualistic system if you're going to have a bunch of people that have their own thoughts and then you condemn them for the thoughts that they have or the expressions that they have.
Skeptophobia.
Well, just the idea like the government would control that and there you would see pushback, but now it's like they somehow trick the people into moderating each other and making sure that you want to make sure that no one's saying obviously horrible humanistic or threats or anything, but like now it's like it's okay if you're threatening big corporations or people that you seem like there's people that just spend all day tweeting at like political figures expecting them to make a response back to it, and it's like, what are you're not incentivizing like good well-being of being a human being. Is Buddha, maybe we need to bring back Buddhism.
The Stanford experiment, right?
Not failed. Not failed.
It works perfectly. Why aren't you wearing your mask? Hey, look, I'm gonna shame you and show your house, and I'm gonna follow you through the store. But I was listening to the one you recently put out to prepare, and you was hitting all the government, and I was like, man, I can't even. He hit it all in this one. I can't even go into that. But there's a conspiracy theory. Oh, what's that? But yeah, I'm tipsy too. So, so I forget the name of it. You know, we're just allegedly spitballing and having fun. We're having a good time.
All being skeptics, we got you.
We're being skeptical. You know,
just thinking, just talking shit.
We're just outside smoking by the water cooler, whatever. We're chilling. I wish I knew the name of it. I wish I could. You look stuff up. All right. It was before Facebook. It was a log of it's a log of everybody and everything about everybody. Project Notebook. No. Maybe. But it was a way to track everybody. But that would be illegal. So what if we sold it to them as a convenience? Because, you know, I love selling everything as a convenience. What if they could just interact with each other in this database with pictures and where they are and what they're doing? And I wish I would remember the name of the actual project because it's Facebook. It just became a corporation instead of a government project.
Well, I definitely think it's about the sales pitch of how things get displayed. You can easily convince a bunch of people to get something or do something depending on how you. If I told you about the cell phone, if I sale pitched it to you saying you're going to have this device in your pocket that's able to communicate with people from all over the globe and do amazing things, you're like, amazing. But then if I tell you that it's going to be this tracking device that's going to slowly advertise and program based on your thoughts and decisions and the moves that you make on the device, or even listening to your conversations that you're having, you start looking at like, I don't want that in my pocket that you're asking me to just invite a spy into my like most personal parts of my life. And it's like, yeah, like imagine your phone. We talked about it. Imagine if you're sleeping and your phone can sense that you have sleep apnea before you can go to a doctor and get that qualified to you. These are things that seem ridiculous and crazy in some Black Mirror episodes, but there's a reason why the guy stopped producing the show. Black Mirror is becoming a reality, but that I don't think we would have thought this would happen 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. There's a lot of things that should be focused on more. Why are politicians not sitting down and talking about severe issues? This is why the reason why they've been going on for so long. They expect things like time to sweep under the rug, like for the 9/11 episode. How come that's still a thing? How come there's still unanswered questions about the commission report? How come that Bush didn't want it assigned? How come we had a guy that had to get a heart transplant that was practically running our country for a brief amount of time?
Man, that's so.
It's fucking Star Wars. What are we talking about here?
I can't grab a thought because there's so much around 9/11. I was like, Dick Cheney. Oh, I was like, oh, he shot his
Hunting
son-in-law. Oh
quail.
wait, I was like, which one do I grab and talk about? Because there's so much around it. And if you squint real good, you look, and you're like, is that CGI on the? Is that a plane? It's hard. Discernment. That's what you got to use. That's the only thing that. That's the only thing. Logic and discernment and
My main
personal.
reason why I get into all these political or conspiracy theories is the idea that I want to represent to people that you have more power than you think you do. As an individual is nothing, but if you have more than one, you start seeing a force and you start realizing how powerful you become. But the easiest way is to make people tired and divided. That Naomi Park episode, the people are just starving there to the point where everyone had to give up their dog for food. And she didn't want to say in the episode about for food. I had to look it up because just saying it sounded racist about collecting dogs for food. You look it up and it's true 100%. The cows, everything that they were using for cattle or food, were dying of starvation, were being malnourished, were being infected with disease. They literally had a thing in the 90s about cannibalism where they used to cannibalize each other. Parents would eat their kids on an aspect of they were afraid that if they died, someone else would eat their kids. That's how pushed to the brink they had become. And if you think that's not going to end up coming here, she even talked about it. She goes, this is exactly what happened in North Korea. You guys are just behind the progress of it going there. And it's like, you don't understand. The issue is like, you need to take a stand as people, not fighting each other, but looking at real systems. Why is the drug not FDA approved yet? You would think with the giant thing that shuts down an economy, you would focus a bunch of people on that. They go, well, the process is long. Fuck, man. Here's my conspiracy theory. So with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, the government had to pay them to say, look through some of your old products or say some of your old products were bad. They had a recall on like 50 something products that they were manufacturing with cancer causing chemicals. I looked at my soap this morning, my hair soap, and I was looking at my shampoo and it said expiration date 2012. I was like, oh, I'm not using that fucking thing. Then I look at the other one that I was using, 2072. What the so if I use that shampoo, what's it going to do? Is it going to make my hair fall out if it's the one that's expired? And why is the other one 2072? What are you putting in it that's making it last that fucking long?
So you introed all happy, right? In this wonderful world of freedom, and
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, they're all the Thanos snap. It's all trying to get us, and that's just exactly what I'm just thinking. Every bit of it is trying to get us. They're trying to thin the herd somehow. Like every microscopic little thing adding up together. All the McDonald's will kill you eventually. All the rain energy drink, what's in there? You don't know. Abadrubagrimonine,
Remember
like.
when it said taurine and somebody said it's bull urine?
Yeah, that's what I talk about this all the time. They name it something crazy, abagrimonine, and it's cockroach shells, dried and crushed up, aspartame, and all that.
I mean, it's very strange because like now we have a bunch of like different variants of the COVID thing, and then it's like now the WHO talks about how like, yeah, the squeeze and release, but the WHO talks about how like they don't want to move on to the next third booster shot because they want people to get the initial vaccine. I'm like, what's the best way to scare people into getting something is by saying that there's multiple variants out now, but then you say that it's resistant, which makes me question of like, then what's the point of getting it? And even saying that, you can get condemned for saying that. People will say you
Yeah, no,
should burn in
I
hell.
I had to I couldn't say what I was thinking.
Mm.
It's ridiculous. I have no faith in all the systems. George Guidestones, Thanos snap, Endgame. Okay, so I talk about this a lot. I love this. So I think I'm gonna start shifting. There's been a chilling effect. I'm afraid to say certain things about like, and it's hard to keep up with every man. You crushing every day, bro. So like, it's hard to be like, oh, this happened this week. Oh, this happened this week. Oh, this happened this week. And now I got the baby. So I'm like, man, I might go into movies. I might go into like, all right, there's a story that's for the normies, and then there's a story for the people that are looking. Like there's like Endgame. Just throw it out there. It's all about Thanos snap and Illuminati and whatever. But for the normies, it's man, spoiler, Iron Man died. you know. So I see the end game Thanos snap, and other people are seeing the, oh man, I like Thor. Ah ha ha ha, he got fat. so
Yeah, I see what you're saying now.
so I think I'm gonna try to do movie reviews because that's kind of predictive programming. I'm really like into that. It's a lot of fun. So Endgame, I love saying this. I wish it would get more traction. So Alex Jones made a documentary called Endgame. It's all the things going on, and he was right and whatever. So you Google Endgame, Alex Jones. So let's name our multi-billion, super popular movie Endgame. So the first thing that pops up is the movie. So 1984, the book, the instruction manual for exactly what's going on. Let's just Google 1984 Wonder
Oh fuck, dude! Are you
Woman.
telling me that there's like a whole entire so they pick something that's been known to conflict with the system, but then they put something like a very funny super Pixar movie or Disney movie that gets the top traction, the top attention to make sure the public doesn't look deeper into something when someone could say, look up Endgame with Alex Jones. Some person hears that in the beginning of their day, at the end of the day when they come home. What was that guy talking about? He said Endgame. Type in Endgame. The fucking yeah, man. Sees them the next day. I saw that movie. The movie was great. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the documentary with Alex Jones. Nah, man, the movie with Thanos where he snaps his fingers. It's like, you. That's a good one, man. Fuck yeah. I'll start getting traction on that, baby.
Good, good, because I'd love that. I love saying it so much. And I got what was another example? No, I had it, but yeah, the 1984 one is just blatant. And oh, I remember. Got it. Perfect. So, what's under Disneyland? Whose head is under Disneyland?
Walt Disney.
so, is it how? What's the status of that head?
Frozen? What do you mean?
Disney's Frozen.
Get the fuck out of here. That's like during the pandemic I was playing Kingdom Hearts and it says the Land of Corona is the Tangled movie. And then next thing you know you got fucking coronavirus and I'm like that's a weird coincidence.
I see a meme. I haven't confirmed it. It's still of a it's a still of Captain America in Times Square. It's got a Corona bottle and the actual like coronavirus
Oh
little
yeah, I
circle
seen that.
thing. And it's
It's
whatever.
the pandemic particle, the virus particle, and
Yeah,
then right
yeah,
beside it is Corona beer.
yeah. And then
Maybe this like Disney and all this is like The Simpsons where they predict it. Maybe like the main guy's like creating a bunch of shit and he's slowly leaving key messages, but he's afraid they got him chained in a basement and he's got to write every single Disney movie or every plot thing. And he's like slowly leaving messages because he knows the government projects. He's seen it like the movie Knowing with Nicolas Cage where he's seen all the disasters. He's slowly trying to program it into the movies. How far until we get to I Am Legend? The I Am Legend thing, my whole conspiracy about the vaccine before Corona was even a thing, I talked about like this whole like the ideas of it when it was first starting out like a year and a half ago. I thought about it's like I Am Legend. I'm gonna wait on the vaccine, and people can look back at my episodes. This isn't just me listening to everything that's happened now. I've stayed consistent with waiting on it on an aspect of I wanted to see what happened because the I Am Legend they turned into zombies after 6 months of getting the cancer curing vaccine thing, and they all turned into zombies. Were afraid of the light. I'm like, I'm not saying, but hey, man, I don't know. They say it only lasts 6 weeks of seeing side effects, but I'm like, what about if COVID has long-term conditions to your health? You're telling me something that would gives you a small dosage or a very dumbed down version of that for your body to fight off doesn't have some type of delayed reaction or dormant thing to it. I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying you can't condemn people for not wanting to get it because they rather take their chances. I don't even take Tylenol. So I'm just saying I want my body to naturally fight whatever that is and build up its own immunity. And we've completely surpassed herd immunity because we've introduced all these different things that might have mutated and manipulated the thing now to where it's just like you don't even have a chance. But
I heard we're all hearing the same things. I heard in Europe, forget which country, that there is a green pass that is a it's fancy. If you got the antibodies, you got 6 months of this green pass of like, oh, you good. And ain't nobody talking about, hey, if you got the antibodies that you all right, you just hey, get that jam. that John. Um, but I was you beat me to I Am Legend. I was gonna say it when I brought up the screenshot. Oh, I seen a screenshot of still in I Am Legend, and it has the Batman versus Superman movie poster, and they're like saying that it was supposed to happen back when the movie came out. But I'm not committed to that one.
Yeah, I've seen that too. See, I'm glad you're on this episode because I can get all my craziness out because everything has been in the like past couple episodes been a little bit political, and it's like it sucks because I took a past couple like I took like over a week ago. I took like a couple days off, and I just needed to get some sun.
Got him in the can, bro. Do it.
Dude, you start see like they talk about the UN now is taking over the naval base in Virginia and Norfolk. They take over that whole entire, and I look at that like, dude, that's our largest naval base. Now, what are you gonna do if you're about to end up going into a war? You're gonna go and make sure that all your best troops, your best lines of defense are proper and running properly correct. Like, why would they just randomly say, and they dropped it in the speech, like, we're here very happy to be at this Norfolk Air Force Base representing the UN. And it's like, you said representing the UN, like people gloss over these things in a speech, but when you watch a TikTok video that points it out, and I go, I don't know how much of that is misinformation. Is that just some person highlighting keywords? Technology is so good now, you don't know what the truth is.
So, damn sick boy. You remember it was all blocked up and stuff afterwards,
Yeah.
Capitol. So, um, I people say that there's gonna be like civil war, and it's gonna be like the people versus the soldiers. And then other people are like, man, them soldiers ain't gonna turn on their people. They're patriots and Americans, and they ain't gonna turn on their parents and whatever. And I just skip past that, and I go straight to they're just gonna bring in foreign soldiers who don't care at all about busting you up.
Yeah, because that's the whole reason of like people wonder why we do horrible acts and why people do horrible acts. Like North Korea, they just have the balls to do it to their own people. They don't go over to us and they don't do it to us, but we'll go over to another country and fuck some other people up because what do they tell you when you're in the military? You're fighting what? Enemies. You're seeing them as enemies because you don't know these people. You're protecting your people in your country. You don't care what happens. They're seen as the enemies. They're not seen as people anymore. They device you in that way. You look at like the cops that have all killed themselves since the Jan 6th thing. Now,
Allegedly.
my thought is as a government force, if you are already getting like a bunch of scrutiny under you, if the government comes up to you and goes, look, man, if you kill yourself, we'll make sure your family never has to suffer or pay another bill. They'll be paid off for the rest of their life. Why do I have that thought? Why does my mind think that?
Don't trust them.
That's what I'm saying, though. But why does my mind think that? Because even saying that, I sound like that's fucking crazy. There's no way in hell that could be a possibility. But it's like, man, dude, when my grandma passed away, I looked at the Maryland COVID deaths when they got released like a few months later. And I was just scrolling through and I was like, I know I'm going to end up finding her name on this list of people that died from COVID. And she didn't die from COVID. And I shouldn't think that way about the place that I live. Now, I don't know if it's just because I've been so involved in the conspiracy stuff, but how much stuff, especially when I was looking at that 9/11 commission report, man, there's a lot of fuckery. Why did Bush not want it to be created? Then it got created. Then why did he appoint somebody to lead it? And after a month, the dude left because of personal conflicts. Then why, when they asked for $11 million, which I understand it's $11 million, but in the grand scheme of the government, that's nothing. He denied that. Then they gave it to him. Then 60 days they wanted extra. He denied that. What the fuck? You start to question, what are you hiding? Who's not questioning that? Who's not like people take things literally? Like they'll say vaccines are getting rolled out. Well, why is it getting rolled out? Are you saying that the old one failed? Nobody questions that. They just go, no, because there's a different strain. How did the different strain get created? How did it all get manipulated? Why is nobody questioning the other obvious answer that could be this possibility? Instead, we don't want to consider that this because they'll go, well, that's being racist if you say that. Okay, then we can't question it. What are you fucking talking about? Can we look at like this isn't a race thing? This is a place that ended up getting hit by two tornadoes where I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
It's a shield. Hey, you start talking about some racism. Don't criticize other people.
You just mentioned another Disney thing, Shield.
Yeah.
Who's Nick
Uh,
Fury? Biden?
no.
If he shows up with an eye, it's Dan Crenshaw. It's the guy with the fucking eye patch. He's the one that's leading everything.
Boo. Yeah. Boo. He does the red. He's all for the red flag.
Dude, your Disney
John.
conspiracy is fucking great. I'm gonna spread the shit out of that. I don't give a fuck. I'll
It's
disclaimer it, but I'm gonna say it's yours.
It's whatever. It's amazing. People need to know. I want to find more examples because those are good examples.
They're fucking solid proof when you start trying to poke a hole in it. You can poke some holes, but it's not gonna sink the ship.
Disney's Frozen, Endgame, 1984. Just you can't even. Why not 1989 or 19? Bruh.
Well, if movies have been thought that the reason
Oh.
why they show you aliens, for instance, is to predict if they ever come across aliens, you'd be used to the idea that there was any type of extraterrestrial out there. It's kind of like getting you used to the idea of it. Well, who's to say movies aren't getting used to the idea that you're going to end up living in this type of weird ass government system?
So I remembered. You said they got a dude chained in the basement, writing the hints.
Yeah.
Right. So I seen this video. Could never find it again, of course. Sorry. We're just shooting a breeze. But this dude was saying, hey man, the Illuminati got rules that they gotta let you know what the plan is. They gotta give you hints. It's informed consent. Hey, we told them, but they didn't do nothing. There's a story of this dude. He had plans to do some horrid something. He was walking on this road and he got hit with lightning. And he had his plans and he didn't get to fulfill his plans. And they were saying that they have to, God will crush you because they believe in the devil and the occult and Von Braun and oh Hellboy, man, I wanted to talk to you about Hellboy.
My favorite movie.
The first one.
Yeah.
How's it
Golden
open?
Army's really good too, man.
How's it open?
What, the Golden Army?
No, the first one. I'm so happy we got to Hellboy
With the Devil's Portal and all that type of stuff.
That's
Where
right.
the scientists is
with
going
the
with
Nazis,
yeah,
and the dimension portals, and see, I want to do this with the podcast. I want to turn this into movies where they're telling you to plan, boy. Oh man, it opened the portal with the oh my god. Nazis were totally into the devil and opening portals and
well, they were into some weird necromancy
DMT and all of it. Nah, bro. I heard some funny stuff.
Like one of the main Nazi scientists, like there was the one that used to hung the 5 slowest Jews outside.
It was Von Braun.
Yeah, but did you see the thing that was trending about one of the war criminals or whatever that was he's 100 years old. He's now being put to trial for the things that he did during the war. And I'm like, he's 100 fucking years old and now he's going to start paying for the crimes.
All right. I'll turn over my scientific research that you're after. That's all it is. Just like you said.
Well, the Nuremberg trials.
Yeah. He's just holding on to his stuff. They're like, hey, we got you coming.
He's 100 years old, though. How much?
He's got 100-year-old papers.
We're going to give you life in jail. He's only going to make it till next week.
Or what if he's got the secret? Oh, man, I lost it. But
you were talking about the portal and Hellboy.
Hellboy and Von Braun. I lost it. But, oh, yeah, they're telling us what's in it, what's in the movies.
Well, they're talking about discovering other dimensions. Is this a lead up into the fact of being able to open up another dimension where you let some shit in?
Yeah. DMT.
You really want a lockdown, make the mist a real thing.
Oh, man. Yeah, I never watched it, but I got the gist of it.
Things coming out of the fucking fog and you're hiding.
Or it is the fog.
That's what I thought, like, when COVID, when they were talking about, like, I thought it was a lot like the plants, like in The Happening, where the plants start killing you. It's like Earth finally got fed up and decided to release some crazy thing.
Antibodies. So that reminded me of climate change. So I heard. Remember, I was talking about squeeze and release, squeeze and release. And was in COVID. I said it. It'll go away eventually, and it's gonna be like, hey, annual lockdowns. October to March. It'll be good for the planet. We're just gonna squeeze and release until we got the grip, but we're not gonna let you go.
Well, it's opening up the door for power once you let that in. It's very, very hard to let go. Like you can just keep, you might get enough pushback on it where you're like, hey, we got to back it up a little bit. Oh, then we'll create something new and get them scared back again. Like now it's the way I'm feeling right now is how I did when the pandemic first started.
Remember what I was gonna say earlier. Well, what?
Go ahead.
Oh, so we were talking about how it opened in the movies and the Nazis, and how they were like into the occult and into all kinds of other stuff, right? They're kind of got their hands on a little bit of everything. We got rockets, we got splicing, we got God,
Biological warfare.
well, there's that, and I was gonna make an offensive joke, but I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
They would change your anatomy. That was perfect. All right, so Indiana Jones. There we go.
Which one? Temple of Doom or Crystal Skull?
No, not that one.
Crystal Skull's my favorite.
Well, I guess they're all kind of based in reality. There's
I did have some questions when he got in the refrigerator and he shut it and the nuke went off and he exploded past everybody. I was like, hang on a second.
Holy Grail, right? Was that one of them?
I have no clue.
They were after it. John Connery, his dad.
Terminator?
No, Indiana Jones and not the Stone, Golly Ma. It was John Connery and well, there were Nazis in there, and apparently towards the end of World War II, they were kind of spread kind of thin because they sent them throughout the world looking for the occult and all these powers, spirit destiny, and the chalice put our hands on a little bit of everything that's kind of mystical and or scientific, or we're talking to something. Something's telling us where to go.
I was just gonna say
Portals.
to your Disney theory, Ali, Prince Aladdin, the chains. You have to do the 3 wishes before you get released into your freedoms. You have to jump through the certain obstacles to be able to have your freedoms. You have to do the certain things that they want you to do to be able to get your freedoms and that are promised to you that you never truly get.
Oh yeah, we could let you go, but nah, I might gotta hold on to it. Oh, this is fun too. People were like, "Oh man, Disney's the devil. It's evil," but the movies are good.
Yeah.
But they all got a little something in there.
They definitely like. I mean, do we all forget that Walt Disney was an anti-Semite?
Yes, we do, cause he good. It's good material. So I
Well,
talk about
my
Ariel.
yeah.
She the story of that is like, hey, abandon your parents, abandon your whole family, don't listen to nobody.
Well, that's interesting because they're remaking that movie right now. It's supposed to be released either next year or later this year. They're talking about the casting's different. She's now going to be played by an African American woman.
You beat me to it. I was gonna say she's not gonna be a redhead.
That's very, very strange how you used that as an example and it came up. Man,
we hit them all. We hit them all.
I'm looking at this whole aspect of like, what is going to like, what's Beauty and the Beast then? Is that just you get a bad reaction to the COVID shot? Next thing you know, you get fucking turned into a hairy.
So, crap. I wish I could be more accurate. There was this Olympic show that everybody brings up, and it's like they got doctors and gurneys, and there's all choreographed dance. They got death, like a ghoul, Dementor looking thing flying around, and they're all dancing, and it does a COVID thing, and the particle. And I'm like, bruh, I actually watched this whole thing, and I didn't actually see it. Is this some Mandela something?
What about The Nightmare Before Christmas? You're not allowed to leave your town. You have to stay inside your town. Do not go exploring, Jack. Jack, where'd you go? He ends up in Christmas Town. You start
Well,
realizing
that
how
one's kind of
different
like,
things
hey,
become.
there's some better stuff out there. That was kind of a
Yeah, they have a positive. Hercules has a positive message to it. You can overcome anything that somebody tells you can't do.
no.
But
He was born that way, like Naruto.
only very few people are born with the explicit skills to become a special person.
No, we all got the power of the individual.
I look at like there's a famous person on YouTube you can look up, and he started off doing coin videos where he would like take a wheelbarrow full of pennies and he would trip in a Walmart and just fall over. That's how his videos started. Now he's known as Danny Duncan, and he's like this giant Florida name where he's like he does anything he wants. He'll shoot a gun off in Florida at his store or whatever, and people be like, Danny, cops will be like, Danny, like they're doing that type of shit. And you start to realize like this dude has free range to do whatever the fuck he wants because he literally is just famous for being outrageous. Like he blows up cars in his fucking front yard. He lights off fireworks and throws them at people, and cops don't give a fuck.
So when you get to that level, you probably got people, right? So he probably has a guy that's like, boop, boop, boop. Hey, today or on the 19th, we're gonna do this and this, and just watch out for Danny. Hey, today we got like 10 gallons of gas, and we're gonna hit this car. I don't know. He got people, and he probably is just chilling.
Well, it's the weird part about like to when once you're successful, it's easier for you to be more successful. But it's like that climb to getting to what that level of success is where everything just starts going your way and everything starts getting easier. It's like once they figure out you cheated the system, they make it so much easier for you to seem like an exception to the rules because you're that special someone. There's so many times I look at all these famous people. I'm like, man, how the fuck did they become famous? Like they're just constantly in the eyes of the public. And yeah, they've been picked from obscurity. And it's like, really, everyone can be like that, but it's about that what gets you out of that normalcy into that excelled fame. And then you start to realize the fame starts coming easier, the money starts coming quicker because they have to make you seem like an exception to the rules.
Fame's a drug, and hey, if we prop these people up, you want it too.
Come on, Brandon, get all this conspiracy shit out of me.
What? Like what? What do you want?
Conspiracy, truth seeing, I don't care. I just need to get it out so these episodes don't all start running the same.
What we got? What we got? I just love the movie one. Let's see.
That movie one is fucking legit, man. Seriously, if that doesn't become a thing and you don't get credit for it, I'm gonna be pissed.
Got to catalog some examples. Got to document it. Be the first.
You did pretty good with no notes, though. I'm surprised we got here.
Oh, these are just all the thoughts that are just there, and then hey, we just bound. We're good together.
You would
We
think
got it
that
going.
conspiracies wouldn't be shamed. You think that society would look at these things if they weren't so like some of them you look at them like, God damn it, man, you don't make a good representation for people. When you start seeing people that start freaking out, reptiles are everywhere. It's like, Jesus, man, can we just draw the line at like there's some obvious shit that you should be questioning and not get labeled as a conspiracy shouldn't be seen as a bad thing. A conspiracy is supposed to be just questioning an ideas of fantasy, much like watching a fucking Disney film. But now they're seen as like you're gonna ruin the lives of people. You're going to like Sandy Hook. That's the worst fucking one when that one pops up. But then it's like you're not getting past the things that Alex Jones did get right. And then I think conspiracy theory is it's a good way to question, but you have to draw the line at what's questioning. You shouldn't be questioning something about like the death of someone. Like there are people that have died 100%. Nobody's questioning that. But people lump that into now you're saying that didn't exist. And it's like, no, 9/11 happened. Was there two planes? Was there a plane that got shot down? Well, in Dick Cheney's book, he talks about giving an order to shoot down a plane that was flying over the White House. They ended up not shooting it down, and it turned out it wasn't hijacked at all. It was just a regular plane flying over the White House. You're telling me that person hesitated, that FBI agent hesitated on it? Yo, you're going to love the 9/11 episode. It's fucking going to be like 6.5 hours, dude. It's fucking nuts.
Bro, you're going. I'm not even mad that you like went off without me because you went way more in depth than I would have.
I got room. I need one person, but see, the issue is I need to find a way to tone it down from what it's at right now. And I'm like, we're not going to be able to tone it down. We're going to hype it back up even more.
Well, man, I was just impressed with how much you like coming with. Like, oh, you were hitting like dates, and you're hitting last dude, the one you put out, with all these dates and facts. And I was just like, hey, did you? I just want to say, hey, did you hear about these guys that dropped off the nuke parts, and on the way back they got hit? Did you hear about them?
I didn't hear about that.
So I wanted to look it up so I could be
Well, you can
smarter.
send it to me later. I can be able to look that up too. I'll use that to my last recording. If you want to be part of my last recording, we can do it.
We can figure it out. But so, oh no, this is for World War II. But these guys, they're taking the nuke parts to their destination. They don't know what they're delivering. Oh, we got some magic on here. And then so they drop it off, and they start heading back, and then they get hit by this Japanese sub, and it takes like 12 minutes for the ship to go down. I wish I could be more informed. But they cracked it in half, and it started sinking, and like 300 dudes got out of like 1,300, and they just got stuck in the water for like days and days, and they had to tread water, and there were rafts, and they were just group up and as groups of people with life jackets. And then they were just the sharks would check them out for a day, but then sharks got tired of checking them out, and they were just like, let's go. Sharks were going crazy on these people, and the salt water was getting them hallucinating, heat, just watching people die. There's something called desqualmination, where you know how you get pruny.
Yeah.
Well, these guys are getting so pruny that if you touched each other, their skin would stick, and it was horrific. And then the plane was flying over, and they got seen, and he scooped down, get a couple, flied him off. He was told not to, and they just had to keep making tons of trips to try to get these boys out of there while they were still getting got.
Did you notice when that oil rig was like exploded out in the middle of the ocean, there's just fire coming out from under the ground that everyone was putting up pictures of Revelation speak from the Bible?
Pacific Rim.
Get the fuck out of here. Oh, what the hell are we talking about right now? When's Godzilla gonna happen? That's the one
Bro,
I want to happen.
it's been happening, Hollow Earth, bro. Why is Elon digging?
That's
Let me
not.
get to China, and like,
He said he's building super highways.
yeah, to China. Let me get to that tunnel with the core, and yeah, just take a couple hours to get to China through the holes in the cores and the pathways.
I wonder
Movies, man. They're trying to tell us. They're letting us know.
what's one movie you don't think would ever happen that's a possibility of happening.
What do you mean?
Pick a movie that we've had that you feel like what is never going to happen that actually might be a possibility of happening.
Geostorm is a fun one.
I've never seen that movie.
There's a guy with a red tie, and he's the bad guy. And there's a guy with a blue tie, and he's the good guy. And then
Who the
are you
fuck
not
made that film?
It's all the Illuminati.
Democratic and Republican, really?
Yeah, it's subliminal. But I think the blue dude ended up being the bad guy in the end. But spoiler alert. There was like a, you know what a Faraday cage is, right?
Yeah.
There's one around the planet, and climate change, it's out of control. We gotta put up a grid over the planet, control the weather, because weathers get 2 tornadoes at a time, 2 hurricanes at a time, 4 or 5 hurricanes at a time, and we gotta get it under control. And so somebody gets the keys to the controller, and they start turning it up, and only the blue guy can save us. But it's the blue guy.
if
doing
Bill
the thing.
if Bill Gates would have tossed out his missile dissipating particles into the atmosphere by launching a nuke up there or something like that, if he would have tossed that out around now or maybe a year from now, if the climate keeps going in the direction it's going, people would be pro doing that. But he passed it at a time when the Earth wasn't like climate change wasn't as a hot a topic as it is now. No pun intended. So I'm like, I
Uh,
look at it like, damn, man, like even that was some weird shit when his wife was coming about the Epstein stuff. It's like he was connected to that too.
it's all one big club and you ain't in it, bruh. Um, so we in a dome. They shoot. Why are they shooting? I actually like subscribe to it. It's fun. Flat Earth's fun, but why? Stop shooting rockets at it. What are you doing? You're
Mhm.
trying. People are saying in the flat Earth marble, we're in a dome, and the top of it's water, and there's a tear in the ozone, and water's rising, and it's polarized, got ice wall. If the water's rising, there's a leak in the ozone. Shoot rockets at. I don't know. It's
Well,
lines of thought
you
that I'll
should
follow throughout the
you should
day.
watch Seth MacFarlane's show, The Orville, when they were flying through space and they come across this giant spaceship and realize that there's like a little tiny like civilization in the spaceship, but they've been generations upon generations of breeding that they ended up forgetting that they were on a spaceship. So they're living in this giant dome in this spaceship and they don't know that they're in a spaceship. And the next thing you know, they figured out, and the dome doors open up, the sky opens up, and the simulation of the sky, the clouds and all that go away, and they see space and they go, we're all in a dome. And it's like, yeah, your great grandparents didn't tell you that you were in this giant spaceship. Now they're all starting to figure it out and realize that the world is different. A lot of them didn't want to go out and they wanted to stay in the simulation. Nobody wanted to get out. It turns up into the matrix.
The story of the cave. Know about
It's
that one?
it. I haven't heard that one.
So it's like presented reality. There's people in a cave, they're like working, and then there's a fire, and then there's somebody manipulating the shadows on the wall. And the workers and the people in the cave only know what's presented, the shadows on the wall. But one dude gets out and he's like, "Hey, all this is out here." And they're like, "No, man, that ain't out there. That's what it is right there." And he's like, "Oh, I'm trying to save you. Come on, let's go. There's so much out there." And you're talking about coming out of the dome, and I thought it was funny because there's a book I read, I think Aragon series,
Yeah,
Dragons and Swords and stuff.
I
I
have
think
all the
they,
books over here.
oh yeah, sealed.
Brisinger.
Oh yeah.
The movie
Uh,
was great. I don't know why people
no,
talk shit.
get out of here. Shoo,
What?
shoo,
What?
shoo,
I fucking love that movie.
shoo. Get out of
Anagon.
here. No. Ah, ah, why you gotta hit me?
Finally, retract my statement.
So no. Subliminal blah in your face. Epstein, blah, 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 blah. All the children, normalization, NAMBLA. So, about symbolism,
Yeah.
symbols. Um, Apparently the spiral is a pedophilic symbol. There's a heart that's also a spiral that just keeps spiraling. And then there's a triangle that spirals. And you'll find these in Nickelodeon cartoons. And
The theory
th-
Michael Jackson has the amulet and it has the spirals just like everything else like that. So the symbol for pedophilia. I'm just joking. I don't know if that's true. Don't spread that.
allegedly,
Allegedly.
just always say that if you ever feel funny. So his palm had a spiral for the symbol, which was supposed to be like some dragon or whatever. But no, man, the movie sucked. Oh yeah, well, how we got there. The dwarves thought if they were to go out of the caves that they would float into the infinite nothing. But um no, man, they should have been Lord of the Rings-esque. They should have been strong.
Well, that's the thing is like that's why a lot of the Neanderthals ended up dying out because a lot of them didn't want to breed with the other race, the other species of humans that were out there. What is it? The Neanderthals, and there was another one.
Cro-Magnon. No.
Yeah, but it was something with Homo sapiens as well too, which how we
Homo
became
sapien sapien.
how we became people today. Um, the Neanderthals, a lot of them didn't, like, for instance, like, it's the cave thing. If you don't, if you're too afraid, you can be that, which I'm not mad at, because if I could tell you we're going to enter an age that's going to be like how we have now with cell phones and all this stuff, there are some people that are resistant to that. They like the classic, like still writing letters and still doing all those types of things. They're the people that want to stay inside the cave instead of exploring the unknown to see that the world goes too far. And if you don't, which I just feel like the shift has changed. Now we're all about discovering the unknown and trying to brave it, when for so long we were afraid of what that unknown was, and unknown meant death. Now it's like we're not looking at the death side of it. We're looking at the aspect of we need to survive. It's like Minecraft. You can stay in your little hut, but then how long do you build your little hut and stay inside the safety of your house when you have to go and explore the rest of the world and try and build and create your civilization?
Stay inside. You don't need community. You need to eat. You need to consume. You need to somehow feed the machine, participate, but don't say nothing to the next person. George Collins said they want dumb workers. Dumb worker. I bet I could do a good impression if I work on it. But people smart enough to run the machines and fill out the paperwork, but people dumb enough not to disrupt what's going on.
Well, it's like a loop, like you were saying. The Nazis with Hellboy creating a portal. Are we not doing the same shit with trying to discover another dimension?
Just Stranger Things. I'm just making a modern example.
Yeah, Ford Hero. The whole idea that Stranger Things, that they actually had that project, was based on a real thing called Project Hero, Ford Hero, whatever it was called. I mean, are we out of the realm of possibility of repeating the same old stuff? Like, I'm a big fan of the Stanford prison experiment. They consider it failed, but I consider it to show what people will do, what will manipulate their
It's
brain when you
perfect.
put them in a position of power. How many people went around with the mask thing trying to control other people, tell them they need to put on a fucking mask or they're going, and they're at a crank notch of level 10. And what I consider that to be is, how many times in a job interview someone's talking and they create the whole scenario in their head of how the job interview is going to go, and then they get to the job interview and it goes, how many people saw someone without a mask and tried to see how they would play the scenario out in their head? They're escalated at level 10 and 15 when they roll up to the person like, whoa, how did we get here? It's like, fuck you, because you had it all built up, a fake scenario in your head, like reality television. They would pay people to say certain key words of a bad word, like the N word. They pay people to say the letter N and then end with the ending letter. And then they would bleep it in the middle of it. So then it sounded like they said the word, when all these people are like, no, we never said that word. Doesn't matter. It's good for ratings. You're going to be seen as an enemy. You're going to be seen as this, and you're going to get more television. You're going to become popular. The Situation from the Jersey Shore, really great fucking guy, not an asshole, but the way that they show you on television is what's going to get you views by getting people to hate you. More people will watch it and you'll get more views if people hate you than if people like you. Nobody in the world today that is liked by a lot of people, unless you're like The Rock or something, gives a fuck, because liking you is cool, but hating you gets more attention.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if you get any bad comments, but it all just feeds
I
to,
disabled them all.
like, what? You don't let anybody interact?
I made it so you can't message me unless I know you. And I made it so you can't tag me. I made it so you can't comment on my shit. Because a lot of people are commenting, like, I don't like this person you're talking to, or this, I don't care if you say anything about me, but then you're insulting the person that comes on. It's like, then it's not incentivizing them to want to come back on. A lot of people before, like, you're a podcaster, so you know, but a lot of people don't have a podcast, and it's scary coming on a show for your first time.
Hey, you were my first show coming up, but man.
But a lot of people aren't established in anything online. So it's their first conversation or first podcast they're ever doing. They don't have their own show. So they're afraid, like, can I listen to it before you upload it? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I mean, I guess.
You weren't in the moment. You don't know what you said. So, dang, I had it. I lost it. I had it again.
We'll
And I
pull it
lost
out
it.
of the blank again. Don't worry.
No, hey, that's, man.
The
Didn't
show
hit.
starts to unfold and make sense. I'm subliminally telling you that it's all just conversation.
Yeah.
It's in the show details as well, too, but nobody wants to read those.
Yeah, we're doing. I remember what I was gonna say, but yeah, we're doing great without notes. We'll do fine. One day we'll have to talk shop because nobody wants to listen to that, but we can. Uh, enable your comments. Let people. What happens is we're feeding the algorithm. Bad, bump up, good, bump up, bad, bump up, good. You move up through the. You said you're the 1.11%. What you do is you do.
1.5.
Yeah, what you do is you do 1 million times 0.015, and then you figure out your percentage.
I'm
How
like in
many
the
how
top.
many people are how big that percentage is?
Well, I'm like in the top. There's over almost 3 million podcasts on listen notes. So they're basing 1.5%. You just 1.5 divided by 300 or 3 million. So it's not exactly, when you look at those numbers, it's like the top 1,000 get paid. I'm not a person that's going to end up making a career out of this. I don't have that personality for it. There's people, very few people that have that ability to be able to do so.
Yeah, we'll have to talk shop because you're so successful. Like you're doing everything right.
It's not that successful. I'll be
No,
honest
no, no,
about
no.
my success. I'm not like doing the
I
optics
know.
where people buy nice business chairs.
No, you're doing what you need to do. You're doing it every chance you can. You're putting it out like you can, but behind the scenes, you're not doing some of the right things. Like this is just whatever, right? This is just a throwaway. You have so many in the can, right? And they you have them out into the future a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So a lot of people do that. But for people who just love Robbie, right? Like, oh man, I want to support you. Not like, oh, I'm taking money from them. What you could do is you could do the Patreon thing, which is release it. What? What?
No.
What?
That $5 a month bullshit, man. I look at that like the only
It's
person I
only
want.
for early access.
See, the thing, what I want to do is if I'm going to accept money, I'm going to accept money from a corporation. Every single merch sale that I get right now, and I have not mentioned this because it just seems like so selfish to promote something good that you're doing. I donate in a way that I don't say that I donate. I'm
I
not the
know.
type of person that does that. All my GoFundMe for my merch stuff, every sale I make is going to a GoFundMe for a past guest whose brother has cancer. I haven't said that. I might post it on my social media about it, but I don't talk about it in an episode because it gets remembered. And then next thing you know, someone listens to this a year from now, that GoFundMe could be over with. You know what I mean? If
Right.
anything, donate to the GoFundMe. I'll put the notes or the GoFundMe in the show link. You just donate there. You don't even need the merch. But it's an aspect of helping without showing everybody that you're helping. There's a lot of people that should be doing selfless shit, and there's a lot of people that do. Paul Rudd does selfless shit.
You could do the same thing. You could still donate. You could still
I've
have
donated
early
every
access and
I'm about to say
and
I
you'd
donate
be
shit out
donating
off my
more.
paycheck. I donate shit out of my paycheck. I don't want to charge people for listening to my content because at one point in my life
No,
I
no,
never
no,
thought
no,
anybody
no,
would
no,
listen to
no,
me.
no, 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 no. They're supporting you.
No, it's taking money from
Yes.
people that should be
No.
use it for your kids.
Well, yeah. But I'm doing all right. Not like Robbie.
You're good, man. I just enjoy having the conversations with the people. And if anything, I get positive messages sometimes too. I still see some messages that pop up.
Joe Rogan likes talking to people too, but he
Accepts it from Spotify, not from his listeners.
he got on it. He got
It does promote a lot of shit.
he got the ring. Bruh, we gotta talk shop because nobody wants to listen to this. People want to hear conspiracies. We have to talk shop later. But you shouldn't feel guilty for this is your time. You should be compensated. You're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. You're about to hit 1,000. You are putting it in,
What you just
and you
said is a
shouldn't.
reward. What you just said is a reward. When I look back at
For sure, milestones.
every single episode I post, I look at the number I'm at now, and there's a feeling I get in the back of my head where I'm like, fuck, we made it here. Even if it's not like that, it's not a Joe Rogan podcast. It's a fucking, it's still work. It's effort that gets put in, and people don't know what goes behind the scenes of scheduling guests, making sure you can get making sure you can get good conversations out there as well too. The whole entire like my weekend is just I'm sitting on my computer and I'm just going bump up and like looking for guests and stuff like that. My buddy's like, that looks exhausting. And I'm like, it's not fucking fun, but when I get it set up. Like I don't do pod match sites because they all want interview stuff. And I'm like, there's only a few things I would interview someone about. And that would be like, if there's like, I would like to have scientists on that just which I do obviously, but I would like to have them naturally like come to me, or someone go and get me people like this person just wrote a book and they want to talk about this research study and this thing that they're doing. Not necessarily talk about the book, but talk about the research that's defined in it.
The variety of people you have on here is impressive. You should be compensated. Like, check it out. All you have to do is make an account, and then it's voluntary. It's a voluntary act from people who like you. Like,
We need
it's
to
not.
talk shop after
I
this.
know, that's what
I
I'm
can't.
saying.
This
I
is
know it's too much.
it's
I
making me
didn't want
feel
to do it.
slimy.
I know. So, conspiracy. Let's see.
Find an eagle egg.
um, but yeah, I did want to talk to you about shop because,
Mubo.
man, you are crushing. You're doing everything you should. You're a, and a role model. You're crushing.
Now I feel I'm gonna have to edit the whole end of this part of the episode.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's the whiskey talk. That's what it is. It's drunk
Yeah,
thoughts.
that's what it is. And this energy drink.
Dude, the Reigns are pretty good though. I try to get Bang to sponsor me. I would love to have or Bang or Rockstar.
Couldn't be hard. All you gotta do
Man,
is put a little funny clip on TikTok, and then eventually you'll just be holding a can and making a funny clip on TikTok.
I see the workout videos from like the influencers that are workout models, and they're like doing a hit workout, and they just show one picture of like a bang at the end. And I'm like, that's their fucking money right there. Their fucking money just came from that quick second out of a 30-minute video or whatever of them just showing one little thing.
We'll have to talk shop.
We will.
Yeah.
Where can people find Mr. So Rivals Pride? You know, we
Yeah,
always talk about the
I
movie
actually
stuff.
will. Actually, no. Well, they're both movie stuff. Crap. Yeah, I got. I have a Godzilla. We're working it out. It wasn't very good, but yeah, Rivals Pride. That's video games. Cartoons. Trying to find the predictive programming and some of that. I have a lot of stuff recorded I need to put out. Rivals Pride on YouTube if you like Jump Force, and Skeptophobia. It was political for a bit. Since the president changed, there's a chilling effect about what you can talk about and whatever. So I'm gonna go into movies, and because man, I'm kind of crushing. Those are good theories. All right. So yeah, at Skeptophobia, SKEPTIPHOBIA with Brand Skeptic on Twitter.
And I'll make sure I link it all in the show notes. And thank you for listening to this jam-packed episode of Out of the Blank podcast. So much that it's filled with so much peanut butter you can't even close your mouth.